Yeah, it's an interesting and kind of a nuanced thing, Reese. I don't know if they've gotten beaten to the punch, but they've arrived at the starting line together. The best bad analogy I can give about the news that came out of Big 12 headquarters the other day, and I'm not a poker player, so I'm going to chop this, is that everybody gets to see their cards, right? Like, I can't stand on the table and tell you whose cards are going to be exponentially better, because I think now there's arguments for both sets of inventory right now, right? You could argue Washington and Oregon are better properties. You could argue they also undercut the future because they clearly don't want to be there. So for the Big 12, this is a chance to catch them up a little bit, to mitigate that 1 year advantage of going early that the Pac-12 has. Does it guarantee anything? I don't think so, but I do think it's a positive development. It shows their aggression. It shows what they're attempting to do. But to declare it a resounding off the top rope victory, you only declare those in TV contracts when they're signed.
Yeah.
One thing I hadn't thought about until the discussion of the last couple of weeks is the importance of them being on the West Coast and therefore having night games, very late night games, and how that kind of, there's a TV need there, and that might increase the Pac-12 or 10 or whatever's value a little bit more. But I don't know how you create value for the Pac-12 at all right now without basically creating a set of numbers with Oregon and Washington, and then without Oregon and Washington, and going from there.
The late night windows are a huge driver in what's left in this market, Bill. I think that's a point that should be underlined and exclaimed and highlighted. And also, these leagues now, because of the financial gap, are having to accept a little bit of second-class citizenry, right? Which means they're going to have to embrace some Thursday windows. So the windows that are open in ESPN doesn't have any Mountain West are all of a sudden that are wide open are Friday night late, Saturday night late, and then maybe Thursday night late. And those are windows that are big and they're going to rate. Now, they're not going to rate like the Georgia-Oregon game will on Saturday, but those are big gaping holes that are going to be filled with games that millions of people watch. And now, how are those filled? Are those filled with a expanded Big 12 and they play more late games? You don't know. Does the Pac-12 expand with some Mountain West schools and then they get filled that way? I can't give you the formula of how we're going to get there, but I guarantee you in the next decade, there will be very good college football on late night windows on Fridays and Saturdays.
Our people watch, and by our people, I mean college football fans. One argument that I reject out of hand is the notion that Christian McCaffrey didn't win the Heisman Trophy because no one saw him play. That's flat out false. Now, if you want to say Christian McCaffrey should have won the Heisman, then you have an argument. Here's the reason, and here's how I can back up that argument. If you go back through his season, he wasn't necessarily a preseason Heisman candidate, right? And he went through the month of September, and I think he scored one touchdown in a blowout against UCF, I think that was the winless UCF team. He didn't do anything to burst onto the scene. And yet, over the course of 2 months, he came very close to winning the Heisman.
Yeah.
And many people believe should have. Well, how did that happen? Oh, I'll tell you how it happened. Someone saw him play football. That's how it happened. So don't tell me, well, if people had seen him play, that's a lie. If you want to say you disagree with the outcome, have at it. That's a reasonable argument. The idea that nobody watches these games is false. The ratings may not be as big, but many, many people watch these games.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.